Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the dumbest cheated speedrun in Final Fantasy VII history. This video is by Abyssoft and I'm shamelessly reacting to it. I also don't know about this side of FF7 that much. My primary focus is mainly like story and all that, so let's begin. Let's learn something.
Final Fantasy VII is a very interesting speedrun, from where it started over 20 years ago to what it looks like now.
But you can actually glitch through these guys and skip, like, I think the entire second Mega Reactor or something. That's amazing to me. That's how much of a noob I am to this scene.
The run is almost unrecognizable. For example, initially you had to save and quit to skip the Zalem, an overworld monster that chases you. Then it was discovered that by timing your run at the correct time, you could avoid it. And currently, a manipulation is used to catch a chocobo so you can clip through the mountain, so the Zalem isn't even a factor. Clipping through the—
How do people figure this out? This is just unbelievable to me. Like, do these guys just like run into every single wall in the game until eventually they pass through one? That's just amazing.
Mountain relied on an exploit with how the game stores triangles in memory, and a few years later, after more research, this same trick was being used to walk across water, effectively skipping all of Disc 1 after Midgar.
I didn't know about this one.
Trick was being used to walk across water, effectively skipping all of Disc 1 after Midgar. As time moved on, players pulled the game apart at the—
It's like seeing the FF7 Matrix. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about this at all when I play it, because I play it for the story, but like, this is just mind-blowing to me.
Code level, figuring out how everything worked so they could optimize or break it. And random encounters were one more thing they solved starting in the 2010s. In the 2000s, runners would go through the various dungeons and take whatever encounters the game gave them. But starting with Puexel's world record, detailed step routes were created that had runners avoid problematic random encounters for the first disc of the game, with a full game step route being implemented in 2013. As time went on, the code behind encounters was deciphered and fully understood, resulting in maximally optimized step routes being created. So, I'd like to ask you something. Given that players are so familiar with the game and how it works, how easy do you think it would be to get something past one of them? FF7 has some of the most dedicated mods in all of speedrunning, as they spend hours of their day verifying the runs submitted across all the different categories. And they don't just check the start and end time, they check everything. If you don't believe me, you can watch some of them do it live, as Dash Retro often streams himself doing run verifications, explaining to viewers why certain strats are used and offering the runners critique and feedback on what they can improve on, which brings us to November 2nd. The problem with someone that knows how the game should behave in every situation is that they will notice any deviation from what's expected, even across a 7-hour run. And as Dash was verifying this run, parts of it raised suspicion. But one action in particular had him ask the question, how the heck did that happen? In today's video, we'll go over everything he uncovered, why it's suspicious, and look at the proof that definitively shows something happened when it shouldn't be possible.
How are these guys' brains wired? Because all I see is a random encounter, but what he sees is proof of cheating. Like, how do you do this, man? You know, in the Terminator, where it shows through his vision, and it's just like, you're just like analyzing literally everything. It's like clothes, build, weight, this, and just like all that. I feel like that's how these guys see these games. It's just incredible to me.
On Sunday, November 2nd, Dash Retro was streaming attempts of Final Fantasy VII Any% when unfortunately his run died at Materia Keeper, a boss whose HP you need to manipulate to be 7,777 so that when you poison it, the poison tick will one-shot it with lucky 7s. However, on Dash's attempt, his Materia Keeper fight spiraled out of control.
Even that's amazing to me, that like, on that run, you have to manipulate him down to 777 so that a poison tick will kill him just for speed. Like, I think I got all 7 fever, God, maybe once in my entire lifetime. We're playing as a kid, just purely by accident. I wasn't manipulating it the way, or I wasn't aiming for it the way that these guys were doing.
So, he popped in Tormented Souls 2 for a few hours, then decided to verify an FF7 speedrun that had been submitted to the leaderboard by Tiki live on stream. During the first 10 minutes of the run, he comments on Tiki's step count.
Their encounter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's like 7.5 they kind of took, maybe barely 8. So that's fine. It's enough to underwalk the encounter, But what it's gonna do is, if they're using the no long range, or if they're using the long range route, it's gonna make it take forever to force the encounter for the preemptive setup.
And since you probably don't know what a step count is or what he's talking about, let me explain. In Final Fantasy VII, there's a variable called the danger value that goes up every step you take. So putting it on a graph, you see the danger value on the y-axis and the number of steps on the x-axis. There's a further distinction with steps, however, as steps taken while walking generate less danger than steps taken while running. But the main point here is that moving increases your danger value. So you might be wondering, what about the danger value going up triggers an encounter, and that's something called the step ID. This is the code for random encounters on screen, and rather than explain each line, all you really need to know is that eventually it looks at a random table that actually isn't all that random. In fact, it's hard-coded into the same order each time.
Who the fuck can look at this and understand it? Like, I feel stupid. I'm the low IQ FF fan who looks at this and doesn't know what's going on. Like, my God. To be fair, you need a pretty high IQ to understand Final Fantasy VII, so makes sense.
So earlier, when we saw Dash commenting on Tiki's step route and how it would play out, he wasn't speculating, as Tiki is using the same step route that Dash uses in his own runs and has even made tutorials on. So, he knew exactly what Tiki had to do in order to stay within the bounds of the step route. To show just how much Dash knows about the step route, here's Tiki's Shinra HQ section. There are two different ways to go up the building, the elevator or the stairs. If you take the elevator, it has to stop at 3 to 6 floors, but with a complex manipulation, you can avoid stopping at floors that give encounters. If you're not doing the manipulation, you'd instead take the stairs, as an unmanipped elevator has the chance to kill your run. However, if you do this, your step route needs to change, and here's Dash explaining this as he verifies the run.
And then taking the battle back here is very good on stairs, because the thing about this fight, this room is not hostile before you get that fight, and it is hostile after you get the fight. And that's why when we come down from the elevator, we run really close to them right here before we initiate the fight. We run underneath the detection box because we want to not use steps. Right?
It should be clear by now that
amazing.
Dash knows a lot about the step route, and before we continue...
He clearly does, mate, because that thought has never entered my mind until now.
We should talk about the overworld briefly, as it will become relevant later. While overworld encounters can be manipulated, they require some extra setup, like precise camera angles and starting them at specific in-game times. So it's very obvious when they're being used, and the only world map manip Tiki uses is one to catch a chocobo, and not long after, he's back into dungeons. Going into the first Genova fight, everything looks good, as Tiki executes the step route to get a preemptive attack, where the boss is facing away as the battle starts.
I didn't know you could do that. How the hell do you get a back attack on Genova? I've never seen that ever. Dude, these people are way too smart.
Another important aspect of this run is using Cloud's Braver limit enough times to level it up, and Dash notes that Tiki could have executed one of his turns better in that regard.
So right here, Red just threw a grenade, but Cloud is bravering. So Red's ATB is about to fill. Here's the deal. Her next turn is already queued up. It does not matter when you put in this red grenade. So what you should do is don't put in Red's grenade until Cloud's ATB refills, and then put his in first, so that he stays first in the turn order.
It's honestly quite impressive that no matter how far Tiki deviates from the optimal strategy in a fight, whether from his own error...
These guys are way too smart, man. See, the way that I play this game is I get big guard and I just let that carry me for the entire game. I also use beta and I use trine and aqualung. and in my mind that makes me really smart, but these guys are just playing on the next level, like several levels above. That's just unreal.
Or RNG on the game's part that Dash knows exactly what to do to recover or minimize.
My genius strat is that I know that when you fight safer Sephiroth, one-wing Angel Sephiroth, he's going to cast Wall. So you should cast D-Barrier on him to remove that barrier, alright? For me, that's really smart. It's like, that's as far as my tactics go.
the time loss. Going back to the overworld, in the first half of the game, there are a lot of sections where you need to navigate the world map, and Dash notices something that seems completely insane. Tiki isn't manipulating his overworld encounters, and his luck is completely nuts.
This is no world map minute. That is insane luck. Dude, the world map traversals on this run have been crazy.
How the fuck do you do that? How do you run from one side of the world map to the other without getting a single encounter? Well, not one side, but like that's a big distance, man. I always get an encounter, you know, at least when I'm doing that stuff.
We'll circle back to the world map later, because up next, Tiki takes a fight in the City of the Ancients as he's getting the water ring, and you're supposed to take 18.5 steps after the battle to maintain the step route, which he does. However, he does it in a very surprising way. Let's see if you can catch it before Dash does.
Okay. Tricky to walk behind stuff, but it's good to do.
In this clip, he starts Cloud's walk behind the log when he's not in view, which makes it very hard to count how many steps you're taking since you can't see the animation. It's not impossible to do this if you spent a lot of time practicing this section or have a good cadence with Cloud's walk animation, but since you can take the walking steps after running under the log, it is strange to do this when Cloud isn't visible. In fact, Dash rewinds this section and does the count to see if he can maintain the cadence for the correct step number, and he gets it wrong twice, which puzzles him at first.
So if you don't do exactly 18.5 steps in this part, you fucked it up. This is insane.
Before finally counting out 18.5 steps on his third attempt, and not long after, Tiki takes another surprising action when it comes to the step route. After getting the water ring, Tiki takes another encounter almost immediately after loading the next map, but it's not this encounter that has Dash surprised, it's Tiki's movement after the battle. On this screen, you need to take 18 steps. However, when the battle is over, you have control of Cloud as the screen fades in, and for a small period of time, you can't see what's going on. Tiki starts moving as soon as he has control of Cloud, which is called buffered movement and isn't commonly used here, as even high-level players will run out of the encounter until Cloud is visible, then take the walking steps. So it seems a bit out of place for a runner that's 40 minutes off world record to be using buffered movement, and Dash even has trouble counting the number of steps Tiki takes himself.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then I wonder if it starts differently though, because I think 17.5 might be fine here.
At first, he notices that Tiki only took 17.5 steps, so he recounts.
This is a level of autism that I will never achieve. And I don't mean that as an insult or as a derogatory statement, because I am extremely autistic about the story, the character, the writing, you know, all like the artistry, the music, and all that stuff, that element, that side of the game. I don't think about this side of it at all. Like, I never consider any of this, because I'm not playing it for that reason. It's phenomenal to me that these guys can look at this. They can look at Cloud walking out of a battle versus him running and being like, that's interesting. Why is he walking, not running? Or why is he moving at all? Why is he choosing that type of stepping versus this other type of movement? That's just mind-blowing to me. That's amazing. And I actually mean that with respect. I mean, these guys are known for a reason.
At first, he notices that Tiki only took 17.5 steps, so he recounts them because he's not sure how many steps were taken while the screen faded in. But then he sees that after completing the walk, Tiki does another small walk after running for a bit. This is very surprising to Dash, since a runner this far from world record not only is buffering movement out of a fight, but they're also able to recognize that they stopped walking half a step too early and corrected the mistake just a second later.
From someone with a 726, it's very surprising to see them catch an underwalk. First of all, to buffer movement out of a fight, then realize that they underwalked and make up for it.
Recognizing that you underwalked on steps is really impressive for a runner that isn't in record contention, and the next thing I want to highlight is the fight with Genova after Aerith dies, because Dash notices something done suboptimally.
We've thrown a grenade on Tifa. Both of their ATBs are going to fill. So we're bleeding time right now, because right here you're supposed to immediately go into Tifa's menu to hold time. But we see that doesn't happen. They're waiting for the animation to be over to put in the death blow, which is why now we get this much ATB bleed as well.
In Final Fantasy VII, there's something known as wait tricking, whereby setting the menu option for the ATB bar to wait, the party's and enemies' ATB bars won't go up while you're in a menu. This means that while long animations play out, you can open a menu to stop the enemy from gaining ATB and taking actions against you. And Dash notices that
Wait, you can do this? hang on. I didn't know about this.
While
Wait,
you're
hang
in
on.
a menu. This means that while long animations play out, you can open a menu to stop the enemy from gaining ATB and taking actions against you. And
You cheeky bastards. How the fuck did you guys figure this out? GoldenEye, you say that's S-tier autism? That actually is S-tier autism, right? They almost made it turn-based, you know, instead of just ATB. This is amazing to me. This is like just a whole different side of Final Fantasy VII that I didn't really know about. Like, I knew people were always doing crazy shit like this. Like, I think I was watching Caleb Hart's speedrun, and he did something where, like, he skipped Cosmo Canyon, I think. He was in the car, and normally the car breaks down, I think. But he kind of just, like, kept starting and stopping it in a way. And then he just kept driving, and it never broke down, and he skipped the whole area. I was like, how the fuck did you do that? I will never do this. I'll never learn this. It's just not me. But I find it fascinating to watch other people do this. This is why you love speedrunning, Peanut, because you never figured this stuff out casually when you're just finding new shit. Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to intentionally seek this out. You have to sit down and kind of think about how the game's built, and if you can break it, or if you can push the boundaries of what it can do. Do things that the devs didn't expect you to do. Do you think that the devs, when they made this game, do you think Squaresoft imagined that anyone would do anything like this? Because I don't think they did. I think they thought, oh yeah, you know, people will like this, they'll have a fun go of it. I didn't think they'd expect that, like, decades later, people would be, like, counting the number of steps and checking whether other people took 18 steps or 18 and a half. And if they went outside of that, then they were clearly cheating at trying to speedrun this. You know what I mean? It's crazy what came out of this game. And it's not exclusive to FF7, but it's the one I know.
Dash notices that Tiki misses a chance to do this.
During this animation, this is when you exit, switch to death blow, put it through, go into Cloud's menu. You do all of that right now, because this is when the animation is holding time.
It's a bit odd for someone this far off the record to be exceptional at the step route and then miss small actions like this that are potentially run-ending. But it's entirely possible Tiki spent time practicing the step route at the expense of learning the optimal route through boss fights. Let's keep going through the run to find out. Dash notes that Tiki is behind on steps, and this is a key concept when it comes to a step route, so let me explain what it means. Let's say the optimal step route has you move from point A to point B in 100 steps, with an encounter occurring on point B, but during your run, you deviate from the route by a few steps. The encounter is still going to happen in the same number of steps, but now it's going to occur on point B2. So being behind on steps just means you've been sloppy with movement and will get the forced encounters earlier. You might be thinking that if you end up taking extra running steps, you can mitigate it by walking, since those generate less danger. However, this isn't the case, as walking and running steps both put you closer to an encounter. So taking extra walking steps would just put you further behind and make the encounter happen even sooner. Looking on this screen, he notes that Tiki has taken some steps he didn't need to, like on this chest where he runs one step to open it when you don't need to take any steps at all, as Cloud is in position to open it after jumping, and with the extra steps taken, Dash theorizes that the next encounter will take place before he leaves the screen.
So I would be surprised if this battle doesn't happen in this screen. It might be close, but yeah. There you go, as expected. This is really rough for steps. We're getting towards the territory of steps being dead.
Tiki is so far behind on the step count that Dash says he's in the territory of the step route being dead, and what happens next really puzzles him.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half. 9 and a half. I feel like you have to do more steps than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a half. Am I crazy, or do you have to do more steps than that if you're that far back?
We'll circle back to why the steps are important in
That's
this room
amazing.
in a bit, because right after this, Tiki...
See, all I saw was Cloud running across the screen. But what he saw was an unsolved mystery. What he saw was the red flag of the century. Like, it's just amazing the way these people see this game is just incredible.
Tiki has another single encounter segment on the overworld.
I swear, if this is a one, you have to manip for a one encounter traversal. I feel like this is getting weird.
Dash's suspicions were on full alert, and after going through Tiki's world map encounters, he sees a picture that statistically is very unlikely to happen, as 4 different sections of long overworld navigation only get a single encounter.
The ones in here that are kind of crazy to see in one run. The ones to see in a single run are these 4. These are in the middle, kind of lucky. This is expected. This is expected. These 2 are in the middle. The 4 with the stars are kind of crazy.
Despite this, he continues verifying the run, and funnily enough, a viewer says that he sounds suspicious. And their timing couldn't have been better, because what happens next completely blows Dash's mind.
I almost sound suspicious. It might come off that way. The world map stuff is nutty. Like, there's a reason we do manips, you know? This is crazy.
How? I mean, I know I keep making this joke, but like, I just see Cloud getting into an encounter. For him, he solved the mystery. For him, this has destroyed the entire run. It's the ultimate proof of cheating. It's just amazing. I don't know anything about this. I'm never going to be one of these guys, but I love watching their process. I love watching their thinking. I like watching how they analyze all this stuff and how they see things that I can't see. That's fascinating to me.
Call me suspicious of this.
Analyzing the movement, he thinks that the steps Tiki took shouldn't have resulted in getting an encounter where he did. So, he opens up his own copy of Final Fantasy VII and tries to recreate what he saw. He recreates the step ID Tiki was using and gets the same encounter just before entering the cave. Then takes the same 9.5 steps in the cave that Tiki did before going to Icicle Inn and doing the snowboarding segment. It's worth mentioning that when you're not in a dungeon, your danger level is saved and won't increase until you enter a dungeon again, which means the overworld, snowboard minigame, and town maps don't affect the step count. After getting to the Great Glacier and entering the dungeon map, Dash recreates Tiki's movement, and what he's expecting to happen is for a fight to occur on the first 4 screens. And lo and behold, he gets one on the 3rd screen, well before Tiki had his.
Are we actually doing fine? No, there's a fight right there.
Not wanting to jump to conclusions, he says that he might have been slightly off on the step count, so to verify his hypothesis, he opens up Big Shoes. Big Shoes is a tool created by a Zephyr that visualizes your step count and shows you when encounters are coming up. The green line shows what will happen if you walk from your current position, with the blue line showing the same for running steps. And if a line goes under an encounter's danger value, you'll avoid it. So as long as you're under the danger value of the encounter when you arrive to it based on your step ID, you won't get the fight. Ace created this to help with routing in the 100% category, but it also has applications with finding better step routes and as a visual indicator for practicing step routes. But in this case, Dash was going to use it to verify Tiki's step route and why the encounter came later. You might be wondering how we know that Big Shoes is accurate, and that's because it reads values directly from the game's memory. So, as long as it's set up correctly, it's hooked right into the game as it runs. However, Ace did tell me there was one case where Big Shoes doesn't get things correct, and that's in the Shinra Tower, where the map starts off with one danger value, then increases it after Genova breaks out. So, it's not entirely accurate for that room after Genova escapes. But Ace checked the rest of the game, and that room is the only one that uses different danger values at different times. And the rooms we're concerned with in the Great Glacier don't change their danger value. And to help understand why Dash got suspicious, it's time to explain what's going on in this room. This cave has a higher danger level than the rooms before and after it, so what you ideally want to have happen is for an encounter to take place as far into it as possible, as your danger value resets to 0 after the fight. This way, you spend as little time as possible increasing your danger value in the high danger room after the encounter. But if you're behind on steps, you'll get the fight earlier in the room. And fortunately, there are different step routes you can take depending on where in the room you get the fight, so that you can correct the step route and avoid encounters on the screens coming up. However, in Tiki's run, he's so far behind on the step route that the encounter that should take place in the cave happens just before he enters it, then only takes 9.5 steps once inside, so his next encounter should be a lot earlier than when he gets it. And when Dash used Big Shoes to recreate Tiki's movement, he got an encounter where he expected it to occur, not where Tiki got his. So, what does this mean? Well, if the game behaved as it was expected to, which is what happened during Dash's recreation, there would have been an encounter on this screen near the end of it. And if you get that encounter, it pushes the encounter Tiki got further into the step route, as the danger value would have reset. This puzzled Dash, so he looked through the Great Glacier section in Tiki's run to see if he missed counting some steps, only to find that everything lined up with what he initially thought. He then goes back to the high danger room and experiments by taking different step counts in case he miscounted. But no matter what he did, he couldn't avoid the encounter on this screen that mysteriously wasn't present in Tiki's run. It didn't matter if he took 9 steps, 9.5, or even 10 steps, he still got an encounter that Tiki somehow avoided. On further investigation, Dash wanted to know how many steps it would take in the high danger room given Tiki's step route to avoid the encounter, with 12.5 being the number needed. And since Tiki took 9.5, or 10 if you're being generous, there were 2.5 to 3 steps he needed to take that aren't observed in the run. This got Dash curious about the overworld sections Tiki had exceptional luck on, and looking back, it was quickly determined Tiki wasn't using overworld manipulation strategies. At this point, Dash says that he can't verify the run and goes into what he thinks is going on.
So, if we get into, okay, if I think that this run has foul play, what do I think it is? Not splicing. I don't think so. I think that what we're seeing could very easily be cheat engine. I could see world map fractions getting frozen, danger getting notched down a couple hundred. I could see, like, runner is able to see the step graph, and so when it updates, they know that they need to notch their danger down a little bit in order to not get a certain fight.
I think in the world of nerdery, right, like, we can't see people's brains and stuff, but let's say, like, you and me, the average, we think we're pretty good at games, all right? We just look like some, at best, natty bodybuilder or some CrossFit guys. These guys in the world of nerdery, their brains are like Ronnie Coleman. They're like Jay Cutler. They're like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're just like the most jacked Giga Chad Expedition 60 barky looking characters you've ever seen, but you can't see that because it's their brain. That's kind of like what I think these guys are like. Like, you, me, and everyone in chat and everyone watching this video, we might think we're, you know, a bit of nerds and stuff, you know. We've gamed a bit now and again. We might think we're, you know, we've got somewhat of a highish IQ. We are nothing compared to these guys, all right? We're like Krillin compared to Majin Buu on the screen right now.
After streaming for 9 hours, it was getting late, so Dash called it a night and downloaded the VOD, promising to pick up his investigation the next day. And what do you think happened between then and his next stream?
Between me ending my stream and me starting my stream today, the run has been deleted off of the FF7 leaderboard submission.
Case closed! Kaboom! Bombshell!
It is not here anymore.
Not only did Tiki delete the run submission he made to the leaderboard, he also deleted the run from YouTube.
We look up the user, we find their YouTube channel, and go to their YouTube channel. The video itself is also deleted.
Why the submission and video were deleted, we don't know, but
I think we all know. My God, so caught. Holy shit. He just deleted everything. He's like, fuck, man. Caught. Just destroy all the evidence.
Itself is also deleted.
Why the submission and video were deleted we don't know, but it is strange that they were removed after Dash became publicly suspicious on stream. And he spends the first hour of this stream recapping what happened yesterday, mainly that Tiki likely had Big Shoes open so he could see his step count, and then edited his danger value in RAM to avoid an encounter without having to take more walking steps. Let's say you're skeptical, however, and think Dash may have missed counting some steps. Well, if you did take the 12.5 steps required to avoid the battle, the next encounter would take place even sooner, as your step count would be higher from the extra steps. Here's Dash once again.
If you were to take 12.5 steps, which is the amount that you need to take in order to avoid that encounter, it doesn't just mean that what we see in the video would even occur. It means that we're underwalking this battle all the way back here instead of up here. And it means that the battle that we do get, are you guys ready for this? It means the battle that you do get, that we're supposed to get, happened on this screen. Because now we're so far behind from taking 12.5 steps.
If someone were speedrunning the game with Big Shoes open, they could see when their encounters were coming and what steps they'd have to take to avoid them. And the behavior we saw in Tiki's run would make sense as explained by Dash.
They saw, oh, I underwalked that encounter, pop up to my RAM editor, take 200 danger off real quick. Just pop 200 danger off real quick. And then there you go, now we don't hit that encounter. And so then that is what produces no battle here and a battle here.
It's just a shame, like, just don't cheat, man. Yeah, I know there's that copy paste, you only cheated yourself, but it's true, it's true. It's just true. Like, what's even the point, man? You're gonna get caught. Everyone gets caught. It's the internet. It leaves a billion receipts, and you're under the scrutiny of... You're under the scrutiny of Super Saiyan autists, all right? You like, not just your average autist, but like Super Saiyan God, fusion level autism. It just, you can't fool these people, man. You just can't. It feels like everything the internet decided to put under the microscope, it kind of discovered or found out or revealed. There's tons of people who speedrun this game for a living. They know from a lot of experience what is and is not possible in this game. And if you do something that they know cannot happen because they've done this like hundreds of times, thousands of times, you're just not gonna fool them, you know. Torsten, it's the same thing as stolen valor. Exactly. Cheating at a speedrun is basically stolen valor. In general in life, you shouldn't lie unless it's like really important, like a job interview. Like, by all means, you know, maybe for that, I don't know, you gotta help a friend bury a body or something. But for the most part, just tell the truth. It's the easiest thing to remember. I love FF7's, sorry, the real FF7 story so much that I would never speed through it. I want to experience it fully each time. It would be like me sitting down and fast forwarding Lord of the Rings from start to finish. Just watching the whole thing in like 15 speed. Like, why would I ever do this? You love FF7 as a fine wine, not as an energy drink, Mia Foxy. Something like that. Long-form game speedruns are great, but there can be wild RNG, coin flips that destroy runs. Yeah, well, it's interesting. There's like different speedruns. There's some where you use skips, right? And you just like, you skip Cosmo Canyon, skip Cloud's flashback, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, there are ones where... See, I don't know any of that. There are speedruns where I want to see how would you speedrun it if you didn't skip or break the game. Like, you actually just played it the way it's meant to be played from start to finish. That's a whole different category in a way.
What he's saying makes perfect sense. If someone was looking at Big Shoes, they'd see the next encounter coming up while they were in the high danger room and walk accordingly. But what they really should have been concerned with was the encounter after that one, since it requires additional steps to avoid. Since Tiki was now going to get this encounter, but it didn't happen, and he didn't take extra steps to make sure it didn't happen, what he likely did was lower his danger value in RAM, thus avoiding the encounter. Looking back at the other sections in the step route Dash was surprised about, they now made perfect sense. Since if Tiki had Big Shoes open, he wouldn't have to see how many steps he was taking behind the log, it would just tell him. The same thing applies to the fight he buffered walking steps out of as well. When Cloud is moving before the fade-in, you wouldn't need to guess or even have a good rhythm for counting steps, since Big Shoes is just showing you how many you need to take. and if you stopped walking early, you'd immediately know and could correct on the fly. Dash admits that without visual evidence, it's not possible to prove that Tiki was using big shoes, but since there's definitive proof that the game should generate an encounter on this screen, and in Tiki's run it didn't, it is definitive that something is going on here that shouldn't be.
Jesus, so just like, yeah, manipulating the game parameters, messing with its RAM, that's just nuts. Wild how much people can't get away with. You just can't. like how are you gonna cheat? How are you gonna fool like people who do this for a living? And not even just for a living, they do it for a passion. Like you don't even need to pay them to do it. They do it for free. It's their obsession, man. How do you fool? You can't fool these people. Yeah, you may as well just get good. You may as well just do it the normal way. All the effort you put into cheating, you may as well just like put it. The thing is, right, let me put it this way. If you get caught cheating once, your reputation is nuked, if not tarnished, for the rest of your life. Whereas if you tried to do it the honest way but failed, even more than a few times, or like, you know, didn't do it perfectly, didn't always succeed, people forgive that. People respect that. Because how else are you gonna do it? You know, you have to make mistakes in order to learn. The master has made more mistakes than the amateur has made attempts. Something like that. You gotta do it wrong in every conceivable way, because then you know all the ways not to do it. And then you start doing it right. You start doing it better. And it's the only respectable thing to do at the end of the day. If you cheat, your foundation is just built on a house of cards. It can just be blown over and with minimal effort. But if your foundation is built on honesty and real hard work, people can't push it over. Not nearly as easily, man. They can't. You can resist criticism, or you can survive criticism. You can survive people being assholes to you. It can overcome difficulty and obstacles. As Miss Frizzle says on the Magic School Bus, take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. Yeah, she was an absolute MILF.
To show how easy it would be to edit RAM values and manip encounters, Dash fires up the Duck Station emulator, goes to an overworld section, takes an encounter, then checks a box that freezes the RAM value responsible for generating world map encounters, all while navigating with his left hand, something very easily done while running the game.
Wow.
And once you're finished that section, you just unfreeze the RAM value so nothing else in the game gets messed up. This would explain Tiki's insane overworld sections, unless he was just incredibly lucky. So, Dash went through the effort of recreating Tiki's overworld from Midgar to the Chocobo Ranch by replicating his movement at the in-game times Tiki would have started that section on. And to his surprise, everything checked out.
Wow.
That's actually...
So that one's legit.
That's actually amazing that there was actually no cheats used to just like do that overworld thing. That's crazy.
Very interesting.
Checking all of the overworld sections wouldn't be possible, since you need the in-game time when the world map is initialized. So, Dash started looking at spots further in the run, but before he got very far, someone in the chat had some news.
Oh, wait a second. You're telling me there's an update. If we were to go to the FF7 leaderboard, and we were to go to No Major Skips, and find their run... Oh!
Not only did Tiki Liger remove his videos, he also left the Final Fantasy VII Discord and many other speedrun-related Discords. He's also a moderator for some games on speedrun.com and holds world records in other games, but even those videos were pulled during Dash's stream. I tried to reach out to Tiki Liger and ask about his Final Fantasy VII run, but he never returned my messages. And the videos he set to private didn't stay private for long, as Tiki completely removed them and deleted his YouTube channel later during Dash's stream.
Wow, completely nuked, completely wrecked, complete just scorched earth. In all caps, delete fucking everything. There's something magical about the game Final Fantasy VII, the original one, the real one. This didn't happen with any of his speedruns with literally any other game. It happened on FF7. The OG FF7 is so legendary. It's almost like a cursed artifact, or it's like a blessing or a curse depending on who plays it. This game sends a percentage of the people who play it completely insane, where all they do is then they live on Twitter and the rest of the internet tweeting about whether Cloud is banging Aeris or Tifa. several times a day for the rest of their life. When in truth, we all know that Cloud is a furry, and it was proven in FF7 Rebirth when he has a date with him. He touches Red 13's paws and he says, "They are soft." And Red goes, "Huh?" He's like, "Nothing." And then Cloud looks away, rather steamy and with a hidden blush in his face. Yeah, so they're both wrong. Cloud's obviously banging the dog. They just want to see more FF7 no matter what. No matter how low quality, no matter how fan-fiction-y, no matter how poorly written, no matter how sloppy it is, just as long as we get more Tifa Ares, Zack, whatsoever. So they end up reading books like The Kids Aren't All Right, The Story of Leslie and Kyrie. This game is like the ring from Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? It makes you go crazy. It makes you obsess over it for the rest of your life. Or there's people like me, you know, who we love the story and its characters and its message and significance so much that it's just straight up offensive watching what they've done with it. You know, them twisting and perverting this original story and its characters into something that it's not, like retooling it from quite a dark, gritty, mature 90s story with some light elements into something made for the Marvel crowd, the Guardians of the Galaxy crowd, the Thor Love and Thunder crowd, the Disney adults. It's like offensive. You can see this game nukes people's lives. I guess to sum up, in years to come, humans and maybe aliens or AI overlords, they're going to look at FF7 and it's going to be regarded as this ancient legendary game that changed the lives of everyone who played it, for better or for worse.
It looks like the channel is deleted now. Before everything, remember what I said. How I feel about this, once again, is this was low effort cheating, which means that, again, I would not have been suspicious of every one of their runs, because this cheat was so low effort that it's the kind of cheating that you can't do with, you know, with like actual hardware runs. Now they do not have the chance. They do not have the chance now to have any of their runs be proven legitimate because they're all gone.
Looking deeper at his speedrun
I mean, I just say that's an admission of guilt at this point. Like, do you even need to verify them anymore?
profile, there's a Final Fantasy VIII run he submitted that was rejected, with the reason being that he loaded an older save not created during that run. This may have been a mistake, as I'm told you do need to reload your save for the manipulation that's taking place, but it is odd given that we now know something wasn't right with Tiki's FF7 run. Given the definitive evidence that an encounter was skipped, the circumstantial evidence that points to Big Shoes being used, and Tiki deleting everything, it appears as though the game was tampered with in his run. But if that wasn't enough, Dash found even more evidence. Rather than tell you about it, I'm going to send you to his video, and I'll see you in the next exciting episode of Abyssoft Z.
Thank you very much, Abyssoft Z, for the phenomenal video. Everyone make sure you are chucking a like and subscribe to my man, Abyssoft. He is also the guy who did the video about Monetary Dragon, who got Cloud to level 99 in the first screen of FF7, where there's not even a save point. So he had to play it with his feet, get a backup generator so he never lost power, and he did this for like 2 years or something like that, which is absolutely unreal. I would say that's another way FF7 is special, is that might be the guy who got Cloud. Yeah, getting Cloud to level 99 in the first screen is probably the most insane grind challenge in the history of video games. I don't think anyone's gonna top that for a very long time. Maybe ever, you know. Which proves that it's the best Final Fantasy of all. FF6 Andy's in shambles. Sephiroth would powerbomb Kefka through a coffee table, alright? And you all know it.